Let's continue our discussion about stabilization policies. Here, we're going to focus upon the supply shocks. Okay, and the case, which is the third one, because the first two are the demand shocks. Okay, is the oil price falls sharply. Now, we already discussed this shocks itself in the previous videos, right? We said that when oil price decreases, that means the production cost would be lower. Okay, so the economy would produce more, and so that's why there's a rightward shift of the short-run aggregate supply curve. Okay, so we're moving from E bar, which is this point, to point A, which is right here. Okay, now we find that the output level is higher than the potential, but the price level is lower. Okay. Now suppose we still worry about overheating. Okay, so we want the economy to cool down. We could use the contractionary policy tools. Okay, once again, we could increase the government spending. Decrease the government spending, or increase taxes, or reduce the money supply. Okay, now if we are doing that, we would find that we could push the aggregate demand curve back to this place. Okay, where the new intersection of the AD prime and SRAS prime just cross the long-term aggregate supply curve. Okay, now at this new point, we find that the output level goes back to the original one, Y bar. Okay, but what's interesting is the overall price level decreases even more. Okay, from PA to PB. In other words, compared to the previous case of the demand shock, we could help the output and the overall price both return to the original levels. It looks impossible here for a supply shock. Okay, so the output level could go back to the original one, Y bar, but the price level is going to go further down. So the economy would experience a more severe deflation. Okay. Once again, that's what we just mentioned. Okay, so this is the third case. And the fourth case, if the oil prices rises sharply, okay, so we find that production cost would be higher. So producers would cut their production, and we're going to shift the short-run aggregate supply curve to the left. Okay. And then we find that at point A, which is a new equilibrium, the output level is lower, so there's a contraction, but the overall price level is higher. Okay, and this is actually called the stagflation. Not sure if you guys heard about this. So the output level gets stagnated. Okay, there's no increase, and at the same time, there's an inflation. Okay, and once again, we could use the expansionary policy tools. Okay, and that way we could shift the AD curve to the right. Okay, and if that's what we choose to do, then we're gonna say that the output level goes back to Y bar, the original one, the long-term potential level of output, okay, which is good, which is what we want to see. However, when you look at the price level on the vertical axis, you find that when we move from A to this point, then the overall price level becomes even higher. So it goes from PA to PB. Okay. And I'm sorry. Then someone might say, I don't care that much about the output level, but I do care very much about the price level. Okay? In other words, I don't want to see the overall price level continuously going up. Okay, so I put the price before output. Okay, or you could say put the inflation before unemployment. Okay, because the price level is a measure of inflation, and the output level is negatively correlated with unemployment, right? So what we could do, if the focus is not upon the output level, but the price level, then we can use the contractionary policy to push the aggregate demand curve to the left, okay, to the position of the AT double prime. And then what happens is here, we're basically moving from point A to this point, and we find that the output level becomes even lower than YA. Okay, of course it's going to be far below the potential level. However, the price level does go back to P bar, okay, the original level. That means here we actually have two choices. Okay, do we care more about the output than the overall price level, or vice versa, we put the price before output? Okay, again, for a supply shock, there's no way for us to put both the output and the price level back to where they were. Okay, so there's going to be a trade-off between unemployment and inflation. Okay, as we already mentioned, if you care about the inflation, then you have to make some sacrifice of the output. Okay, and of course that's going to affect the unemployment. Okay.